All right, you're on Phoenix FM 106.7 with me, Miss M, and today on the program I have the great pleasure of talking to Melbourne singer-songwriter Floyd Thursby. Floyd has an album out called To Those in Flames, and to talk about that and more, I have Floyd on the line. Floyd, welcome to Phoenix FM.
Thanks so much, Miss M. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Now, I just want to say, before I ask the first question, the people who have been to the Malden Folk Festival, we're talking about this, will love you. I got a call from a listener who went to the Malden Folk Festival and enjoyed soaking up the atmosphere and enjoying all the musicians. So they will love you and love your music as well. So I think a lot of people will really be looking forward to this.
Malden's a fantastic festival. I wasn't privileged to be there this year, but I know lots of my friends were there. I know Mandy Connell was performing. She's an extraordinary musician. And yes, it's very much part of the Australian music scene that I like to call home.
Yeah, now firstly, you have a new album out. Tell us about the inspiration behind it.
Well, yes, this album is the result of a bunch of songs I wrote on the road. I left my job I left my day job in about 2017 now, and then for about 6 months after that I travelled, and I started in London and I ended up in Iran, and in between I went to Iceland and to Portugal and southern France and Azerbaijan and Armenia and all these amazing places, and I took my guitar with me, and at various places I'd stop maybe for 1 week, maybe for 2 weeks, and write songs, whether they were about things around me there in that place or about memories. And about 9 months ago now, I went to the studio with Marty Brown, a fabulous producer, and a member of the band The Art of Fighting, and we recorded a bunch of them, and the album came out almost about 3 weeks ago now.
So you were in Iran?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we had some people in prison there from Australia. Were you scared at all being there? Was it scary?
Well, the timing for my trip was very lucky because at the moment, I think it's probably not a country I would visit, given the very belligerent relationship between the current regime and the current American administration. When I was there, things were a little bit different. The international community was much more favourable to Iran. And in fact, while I was there, the Trump administration cancelled the nuclear deal that had relaxed trade sanctions. And that change in world politics happened while I was in the country. So it was a fantastically sort of troublingly time to be there, because I saw things change while I was there. I saw inflation, the effects of it on the daily life of the population. So for me, it wasn't a scary time. And I think, to be honest, we tend to, media particularly, to overstate the danger of travelling in these countries. It's a fantastically friendly country. The politics scary, but on a day-to-day level, the people are just fantastically welcome.
Yeah, well, during the Ayatollah Khomeini, women really had to cover up with the chador. Were women really covered up, or was it just like a simple hijab that they had to wear?
It's a hijab. It's still the case that it's a legal requirement that is honoured by some people. Some women wear a hijab that is very sternly and harshly brought down, right down to the eyebrows and tightly held around the face. Other women wear it so far back on the head that it sort of barely covers the ponytail, as it were. And it's really a mark of how maybe how devout you are as a Muslim, but also possibly how much respect you give the regime. But look, I think of all the people who have cause to be upset with that regime, I think the women of Iran have probably the greatest cause, because the rules that they live under is an absolute an outrageous example of patriarchy to a level that we have no idea in this country.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I actually saw a protest in Iran, and the women were on one side and the men were on another side. Isn't that interesting?
Yes. I did something that I'm sure all tourists have done in that country, which is I was about to get on the wrong door on a bus because women and men travel in separate compartments on the bus. So men get on one door and women get on the other door.
Very, very interesting. Now, I like the lyrics for Everyone Can See the Stars, and I'll just, for the benefit of our listeners, read out some of the lyrics. Seasons come and seasons go and no one knows the time except the sun, but everyone can see the stars tonight. What inspired you to write these lyrics?
Well, that's a song about togetherness and about feeling connected to the world at large. Very specifically, it was remembering a time when I went down to a local sports ground on a beautiful clear night and lay on my back in the grass and looked up at the stars above. And it's a rare moment of contemplation when you actually get to really understand that what you're looking at is not necessarily up into the sky, but when you look into that cosmos, you look at those stars, there is no up or down. Up or down is something that happens on Earth, but what we're looking at is in fact not a blanket, a flat expanse studded with pinpoints of light, but a deep area of space in which these stars hang. And it's just such an awe-inspiring feeling that it makes you feel very small, but also very much aware that all of us on this one Earth are looking at that same, out into the same area of space.
You know, it's interesting you say about feeling small.
Yes.
When you look at the stars. It's interesting, when I travelled overseas for the first time, I was just a young person in my 20s, I felt so small and I felt like, you know, nothing really matters anymore. Do you know what I mean? When you have these experiences, was it like that?
Well, in a way, but I wonder what you think, that there are two ways that idea of nothing really matters anymore can go, isn't there? Like, in one, it's a conclusion of depression, where you think, oh, you know, bloody hell, nothing's worth anything anymore. And on the other side, it's a feeling of contentment, because you are not troubled by the minor things that sometimes bother you, and it's a feeling of peace. So I think the way you respond to that feeling of perspective is an insight into one's own state of mind at the time. And for me, because it was a very happy time of life, and it still is, to be honest, it's a feeling of equanimity. It's a feeling that, yeah, well, everything is where it ought to be, and whatever happens, happens, and we must just roll with the punches.
Well, I was actually referring to the latter, the contentment. So, you know, why am I so worried about all these trivial things when nothing really matters? The world is so big. I am so small, you know, nothing matters. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's an amazing feeling. And it's a feeling of all of a sudden you realise that we are just another pinpoint of light hanging in the same firmament. You know, if we were on a star far away, we would look just like one of these stars that we're looking at.
Yeah, now I also like the lyrics for To Those in Flames. Demons took you from me, but delivered you once more into my arms. What was the inspiration behind these lyrics?
That's a different experience, and it's a different feeling to that. It's a song of more sort of discontent. It's about the intensity of a love affair where there is such intensity that it's the opposite of that feeling of contentment. And that intensity of feeling can manifest as extreme joy or extreme anger or extreme pain. So it's really the opposite. It's a companion piece to the other song, because To Those in Flames also has images of stars, you know, but this is about a feeling of burning and intensity and brightness, and how that you can be with someone whose personality just seems to change so completely in a short space of time because of that intense passion that burns within that person.
Now, I really like the video clip for To Those in Flames. What was the inspiration behind the concepts in the video and who directed it?
So that was directed by a gentleman named Nassim Balamanesh, who interestingly is of Iranian heritage, although it's a coincidence that he directed it shortly after I returned from Iran. But he was introduced to me by a mutual friend who's since passed away. And there's actually a song on this album of mine called The Day My Best Friend Died, which is about that mutual friend of ours who passed away, because he died a couple of years ago. But he was my first choice to direct this film because he's a cinematographer, so his greatest skill is to capture images and light in the most beautiful way possible, and I felt that this was a very contemplative song. It had to have strong images of fire and also images of darkness, and also there's images there of some ruined farmhouses that were built about 150 years ago on the outskirts of Melbourne. And we went out to a place just near Melbourne Airport where these farmhouse ruins exist, and we went there just after dawn because the light is best at that time of day. And we were walking around these ruins with just us and some kangaroos in the background, getting these shots as the light got brighter. And I was standing there getting, frankly, colder and colder because the wind was very strong up on the top of this hill. And the next shot we got was on a different day, which was in front of a brazier, so a big oil drum with a fire inside it, which kept us warm. And we just got some shots of me standing in front of that and seeing the camera.
It is 5:32 p.m. You're on Phoenix FM 106.7 with me, Miss M, and today I'm talking to Melbourne singer-songwriter Floyd Thursby. We're going to hear a song from him in just a moment, but before that, Floyd, just interesting about you going to Iran. I actually knew about that when I read your press release that you sent to me. There's actually protests and a lot of chaos going on in the Middle East at the moment, like in Lebanon, Iraq, and in Pakistan. I think they want the leader to step down. There's a lot of, just discontentment with leaders and governments. Do you think you'd go back there to the Middle East, or is, that's something that you'd reconsider?
Look, the boring answer to that question is it depends, I suppose. It depends on the specific country and the specific time. So I think that the media can overplay some of the dangers associated with those protests. On the same token, some of those are genuinely unsafe places, especially if you're carrying a passport that's, say, American or one of America's most staunch allies like the Australians or the British. You can be a target. I know, however, that Jordan is fairly safe at the moment, and I think there'd be parts of Turkey that are fairly safe. Pakistan, I probably would wait until it settles down a little bit. But even now in Iran, I know people who are travelling in Iran and having a fine time. But look, there's certainly a risk there. There's a risk in walking out your front door every morning. It's just it's best to be as informed as possible when you make the decision.
All right, well, we'll hear a track from you now. This is Everyone Can See the Stars, which we've spoken about, and I've played on the program before. So we'll hear it again. You're on Phoenix FM 106.7 with me, Miss M. I'm talking to Floyd Thursby. Let's hear Everyone Can See the Stars, and then back with more from me and Floyd right after this.
Lie down down on the ground, look at the sky tonight. Lie still here in the grass, stare at the sky tonight.